Fitness, Fun and Fat Loss with me, Gav Gillibrand, your host. If you're listening in on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, wherever, welcome. We're going to do an open Q&A and I'm excited to get started with this. But first, a little intro. See, I like to be taken for dinner and drinks first before you slip your hands into my knicker. Call me old-fashioned. I'm kind of a big deal. Sake. Boom. Cool. We're back. Hope you enjoyed that little intro. Recorded a while back, but here we go with open Q&A. So I'm going to keep it fairly broad. You can come on. We're going to talk fitness, fat loss, weight loss, building muscle, mindset, anything in between. Last week we were talking about flat Earth and how it's not flat, definitely a globe or curved or whatever. But we're not going to make the focus flat Earth. So if you're coming on now, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, let me know where you're from. Drop a comment into the chat. Let me know where you are, who you are, if you've got any questions, and we'll go from there. I can see one user on, one viewer rather. Anyone else for anyone else? It's going to be a little bit embarrassing if I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs. I do have some information I'm going to share with you. If no one comes on, I've got a topic that I'm going to talk about, and it's going to be based around nutrition and diet. But let's see who comes on. Let's see if we've got any questions. Very quiet today. I'll have a drink of water. I say water, it's water with a little bit of sugar-free squash. All right, someone's on. We've got Anna. Hi, Anna. Anna Massa on LinkedIn. Awesome. Anna, whereabouts are you in the world? Let me know where you are watching this from. The UK, America, anywhere else in the world, let me know. Nice tea. Joel. All right, aren't they? Should be Joel. Bloody cost me a lot of money. Cost me enough. I had to remortgage the house and sell all of the children, but I've got a nice set of teeth. Hi, Anna from the UK. Awesome. Joel's on. We've got Claudio from Montreal. Welcome, ladies and gents. If you've got any questions, pop them in the chat. Let me know. Right, I'm going to mention what I said I was going to talk about. If questions come, we'll go to them as they come. I put a poll on LinkedIn earlier on today, and I said, what was the most confusing aspect of fitness or health, fitness, fat loss? And obviously the poll is only half a day old, so it's got another six and a half days to run. And the vast majority, over 500 people, have voted and have said that diet, nutrition, and food was the most confusing area around health and fitness. We've got Jim. Hi, Jim. Jim Frombury. Hello, mate. How you doing? Glad that you're here. So most people so far, as suspected, said that their main issue or confusion in this area, health, fitness, and fat loss, is diet, nutrition, calories. Okay, most people don't understand that. Most people don't know what they're eating. They don't know what to eat. They don't know why they should eat it. They probably know some foods are, when I say more healthy than others, let's just clarify what that means. When I say that foods are maybe more healthy, they've probably got more nutrients than the other foods. If we were to compare, say, broccoli to a donut, obviously the broccoli is going to be healthier, but you could still eat too much broccoli and get fat. You'd have to eat a lot of broccoli. The point I'm making is the foods that we like and enjoy tends to be high sugar, high fat, high salt, no fiber, taste great, empty calories, very poor on the nutrient scale. Where vegetables, fruits, you know, quality sources of protein, good sources of carbs tend to have more nutrients, more satisfying, more fiber, less sugar. So that's what I mean by healthy and not so healthy foods. All right, Jim has asked a question. Here we go. Good question, Jim. Very good question. I want to use my Fitness Pal, track my calories. Good start. Amazing. Food item from a restaurant that doesn't let you know what the calories are. The answer to that question, Jim, my friend, is you've got to guess. You have to guess. And here's what I would do, and here's what I do when I'm tracking my calories. Let's say, top of my head, steak, chips, and vegetables. I went for a meal. I'm, keeping my calories under control. I look at my steak. The problem is with a restaurant, unless it's got the calorie breakdown, you don't know how much of it you're eating. You don't know what it's been cooked in. There's so many different variables. But what I do is I put in steak and chips and see what pops up. And I always pick the highest one. So let's say you've got a 200-gram steak, which is typical. You might go for 300 grams. If you put in 300-gram fillet into MyFitnessPal, it's going to come up, but there's going to be loads of variations. Always pick the highest one. Why do I always pick the highest one? Because if it's wrong, then I'm all good. But if you go for the lowest one and it's wrong, you're going to underestimate and you're going to cause problems. But let's say I put in this meal and it comes up to 1,000 calories and it was only 800 in reality. I'm going to eat 200 less because of that, which means it's going to work in my favor. So always overestimate, always pick the highest value. Does that make sense, Jim? Sure it does. As simple as that. There's no way of knowing. There's just no way of knowing. You've got a guesstimate. Is that even a word? Estimate and guess, pieces together. Do the best you can. There's no definitive answer to that. No definitive answer. All right. Any more from any more? Anna, Claudio, Jim's asked a question. No worries, Jim. You're welcome. So look, back to fitness and nutrition. Exercise and nutrition. Most people said that they didn't understand food, calories, and nutrition. And most people just don't understand the value. And I talked about this, it was either last week or the week before. Most people don't know the actual value of calories, like how many grams of, how many calories in a gram of protein, fat, and carbs. And just to let you know, if you don't know this, there's 4 calories in a gram of carbohydrate, 4 calories in a gram of protein, 9 calories in a gram of fat. So there's the 3 main macronutrients. You could add alcohol to that mix. There's 7 calories per gram of alcohol. I say you could. I mean, it's definitely a source of calories, but there's no nutrients in alcohol as such. So you're not going to add alcohol in with a view to getting a result, apart from getting pissed and adding extra calories in. There's no benefit from it, but it certainly is something to consider when you're tracking your calories. So most of my clients that come into the program, we have to teach them the basics. So it's almost like saying to someone, here's a pound coin or a dollar bill. Do you know the monetary value of a dollar bill? Now, most people know the value of their currency, wherever they are in the world, whether it's Australian dollars, Canadian dollars, or Indian rupees, or whatever your currency is, or the euro in Europe. Most people know the value of money, a unit of currency. But nearly everyone doesn't know the value of calories. And that's the first thing we have to teach them. We have to teach them, one, the value of different calories, how to track their calories, how to know what they're consuming. And then if they're trying to lose body fat, we need to create a deficit. And that means they need to be consuming fewer calories than they're burning. That's the calorie deficit. Okay, when you're burning more than you're taking in, that's when you lose weight. The opposite of that, when you consume more than you burn, that's called a calorie surplus, where we gain weight. The best way to do this is to track your calories. That's the first step. So a few more people popping on. Good to see you. If you're just joining the live now, drop your name into the well, your name will come up, but drop a comment into the chat. Tell me where you are, where you're watching this live, whether you're on LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube, and whereabouts in the world are you? Let me know. Interested to know who's coming onto the lives. Oh, good question from Jim. Oh, Claudia's got to go. Claudio's got to go. And I think the information I have to leave out to work. Awesome. Jim has asked a good question. Is there a better or worse time to eat at night? Am I okay eating my dinner at 9, 10 p.m.? Great question. And one of the biggest myths in fitness. It's irrelevant. It doesn't make any difference when you eat your food. What matters is how many calories you take in over the day, and essentially what you take in over the next few days or even a week. So you could overeat one day, Does that make you fat? No. It matters what you do over the next 4, 5, 6, 7 days. It's tracking over a period of time. And to take it back to your question, a lot of people think that, we've all heard the myth that eating carbohydrates after 7 p.m. is going to cause you to gain weight, or eating food, or eating a large meal before you go to bed. The only thing that eating a large meal is going to do for most people is probably going to disrupt their sleep. Now, that's not to say everyone. Some people will sleep very well on a big full stomach. For most people, the digestion is quite an expensive process. So you're burning calories in the digestion of food. So that could affect the quality of your sleep. You might not be able to fall asleep as quick. And do you really want to go when you in bed and you can hardly move because you've got this massive food baby? Probably not. So it's going to affect your sleep. Poor sleep could affect your appetite the next day, as it's going to make you hungrier, because it's going to mess up two important hormones, leptin and ghrelin, are hunger hormones, satiety hormones. They get skewed when you have poor sleep. Makes a lot of people overeat, not always. So that's the problem with eating late at night. It's not that it's going to make you store body fat, because it's the total calories that you consume over the whole day will determine whether you gain weight or lose body fat. Hopefully that's made answer that question, Jim. All right, Anna has said, my pet hate counting calories. Well, put it this way. Give me some context in that, Anna. Why do you hate counting calories? And, what are you trying to do? Do you need to count calories? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to put muscle on? Are you trying to gain weight? What are your goals at the moment? Do you need to count calories? Do you need to keep a track? But also, the people that say that, I get a lot of clients say, well, I want to lose weight, but I don't want to get obsessive. I don't want to get anal about counting calories. Well, I say to them, well, you probably track the income coming into your bank account. In fact, most people do. And you probably know your bills going out, the mortgage, car payments, healthcare payments, the gym, all the stuff, the expenditure that we have. So it's no different. If you want to get great results, if you want to save money and have a good life, as in the equation, you've got more coming in than going out, you need to track on some level, whether it's a spreadsheet or whether it's mental, or you keep a track of your receipts and your expenditure. So it's no different. So it's really a mindset shift, changing your perspective. Perspective, your perception of what you think calorie counting is. No one thinks it's weird or hate. Do you hate tracking your income? Maybe you do. But yeah, it's not the only way to lose weight, but it's the best tool that we have, because we know that weight loss is simply down to the calories you consume. Calories in versus calories out works every time. So why guess? And most people that don't want to track calories, or don't track calories, or no idea. One, they don't know the value of food coming in. We talked about the protein, fats and carbs and alcohol, the calories there. They have no idea what's coming in. They have no idea what they're burning. They try and reduce calories and lose a bit of weight, but they don't know why or how. So it's just the best way. Absolutely. Yep, to lose weight. You're saying, lol, I guess you probably answered your own question. So, yeah, what we track is important. Jared, awesome. Thanks for coming on, Jared. Good to see you, mate. Great analogy. We track what's important to us. Awesome. Like, you track everything that's important to you. You do, whether you know it or not. Track your income. Don't want to track food because they just want to eat intuitively. Well, good luck with that, Bob, because that's why you're 280 pounds. No disrespect to all the Bobs that are in the world that aren't 280 pounds, but you know what I'm saying. We track anything that's important to us. We have metrics, we have ways of measuring. I mean, the things that we ignore, do we get great results in the things that we ignore and bury our head in our sand and don't keep an eye on? No, we only get the results in the things we track. And you can name that in any aspect of life, whether it's your business, whether it's your home life, whether it's family, whether you do with the children, whether you do with your friends. There's some type of metric, some type of score keeping. And if you're not keeping score on some level, that area of life is not going to be in tip-top shape. That's just the reality. So thanks for that, Jared. Absolutely spot on. Any more? So these questions are kind of tying into what I was saying. This is what we need to understand in health and fitness. And I always say fat loss and weight loss, because I would say the vast majority, in fact, all of my clients, they want to lose weight. And if I was to ask 100 people, do you want to lose body fat? Probably 95 of them would put their hands up. Okay, so most people, you say, yeah, I want to lose a few pounds, could be 3, 5 pounds, or sometimes 50 pounds. But to lose any type of weight, you have to understand the basics. And when you don't know the basics of, it's like trying to teach a 3-year-old economics and trying to teach them tracking their income. They don't know. They don't know how much a dollar is or a pound coin. They don't know how much $50 is. They don't understand that because they're 3 years old. But you as an adult need to know the value, the calorific value of foods, and you need to know what you're taking in if you're going to try and lose body fat. That's not to say that you have to track calories to lose body fat. You don't, but it's the most effective way. All right, so back to calories, nutrition. The questions that I get asked a lot, and this is going on from the poll that I put on earlier on, and I think the vast majority of people said that diet, nutrition, and calories was their bugbear, they were most confused about. And I talked about this on previous lives, and I'm going to talk about it again. Still, many people are under the assumption, or the misconception rather, that carbohydrates are bad for us. Carbohydrates make us fat. They don't. I put a video up before, and Jim, I'm going to come to you very quickly in a bit. I see a question there. I put a video up last week actually on LinkedIn and said actually carbohydrates will help you lose body fat. You know, you don't need to eliminate carbohydrates to lose body fat. The reason people gain body fat is because they're in a calorie surplus, and that surplus of calories can come from carbohydrates, protein, fat, anything. It doesn't matter. Usually a combination of all three. Doesn't matter what you overeat. If you eat all protein, although we know that a good amount of protein is good for us from a satiety point of view, and it helps us build us muscle and maybe helps us concentrate a bit more than having sugar and carbohydrates, maybe for some people. If you eat 2,000 calories of pure protein, which is probably impossible to do because there's always going to be some fat and some carbohydrate in those protein sources. If you eat more calories than you burn, you're going to get fat. Doesn't matter how good the quality of the calories are. So it's irrelevant. Carbs don't actually make you gain body fat. So when I say they help you lose body fat, is if people are having a healthy amount of carbs, good energy, good brain food. I think 70% of the energy we use in our brain, glucose, we need that. That's not to say we can't run on fat. We can. The bodies can run on fat and glucose as a source of fuel. And there's a debate whether which one is more efficient. A lot of the guys that do keto think that fat is a better source of fuel, and possibly it might be. But carbohydrates is a great source of fuel for most people as well. We don't need to eliminate that, but we probably need to decrease it in some cases for most people, because those sources of carbs are very easy to overeat. But you don't need to eliminate carbs, don't need to eliminate sugar, and those two are not making you fat. So to go to your question, Jim has asked, are supplements necessary? Well, again, it's kind of a bit open-ended. We need a bit more context. Are supplements necessary to lose body fat? No. Could supplements help you with a sports performance and health? Definitely. But here's the thing, from a pure body fat perspective, you wouldn't want to do it, but you could eat KFC or McDonald's or Burger King or go to Pizza Hut. If you're in a deficit, you're still going to lose body fat. There was a guy, I can't remember his name now, a couple of years ago did an experiment where he only ate McDonald's for 30 days and actually lost a load of weight. Now everyone was saying, well, it's impossible, insulin and hormones, and it's going to cause you to store fat. Now look, eating McDonald's every day is definitely not healthy. McDonald's tastes good, but it's complete junk. It's shit food, but it does taste good, you have to admit. But if you consume a Big Mac and fries, let's say a Big Mac and fries was 1,000 calories. If I ate 1,000 calories, just a Big Mac and fries every day for the next 30 days, I would lose about 20 pounds in body weight, because I'm eating about 2,200 a day at the moment, and that's kind of keeping my weight stable. If I drop to 1,800, I start to lose a little bit of body fat. So if I went to such a huge deficit and ate 1,000 calories, and it was, Big Mac and fries, I'd still lose weight, and I'd lose loads of weight. Now, the problem with dropping my calories too low One, it's not sustainable. Two, the choices of food, the McDonald's or the pizza or the Burger King, whatever you chose to do, is very unhealthy. As in, it's full of crap, cooked in bad oil, the worst type, the cheapest version they can use, poor source of carbs, poor source of fat, no fiber or very little fiber, no nutrients. It's junk food. It's complete junk. You know, it's like putting, I don't know, it's like putting the worst engine oil in a Ferrari. It's probably worse than that, actually. It's probably like, I don't know, it's like putting soap into a Ferrari and expecting to run. It might actually help it run. The problem with our bodies, we're very resilient. You can feed our bodies crap and it can take a while to break down. So as long as we've got some calories to keep our engine burning, you know, we can survive. You could survive for probably 50, 60 years on just eating McDonald's, but your health would be horrendous. If you ate McDonald's every day for a month, your skin would probably be very, very bad. What it would be doing to your insides, I don't even want to know. Your blood sugar would be all over the place. Your cholesterol would go through the roof. Your triglycerides would go through the roof. You'd be potentially on your way to getting a heart attack. Probably wouldn't have a heart attack after a month. You'd be very sick. Your immune system would no doubt take a knock because you're not getting nutrients. It's fried, it's processed food. But that's got nothing to do with body fat. You'd still lose 20 pounds, depending on the size. I'd lose 20 pounds if I ate 1,000 calories a day. I'd also be very hungry and be craving healthy foods. And my cholesterol, my blood pressure would go through the roof because there's probably 5 grams of salt in a Big Mac, certainly the fries. So it wouldn't be a great choice, but you'd still lose body fat. So yeah, the quality of the calories will determine your health. The quantity of the calories will determine whether you gain weight or lose weight. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, guys, let me know where you're from. If you're coming in, if you're on LinkedIn, great. If you're on YouTube, hello. If you're on Facebook, welcome. If you've anyone coming on live, let me know. We're talking open Q&A on health, fitness, fat loss, and anything in between. Throw your questions at me. If you've got questions, good. I've got answers. It might not be the right answer, but I'll give it a go. Very quiet tonight. Did I answer that question? Kind of went off on a bit of a tangent, didn't I, Jim? Are supplements necessary? Let's go back to that. Sorry, Jim, I kind of branched off. So no, they're not necessary for fat loss, but they could help with sporting performance and health. I did answer that, actually. Oh, Greg has popped on. Greg. Keep up the great work, Greg. I will. Thank you, sir. Hope you're well. Jim has asked, what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting? I'm a fan. It's just another method of helping someone get into a calorie deficit. There's nothing magical about intermittent fasting. Now, the hype around fasting was that, you know, you skip breakfast and you shorten the window. And the typical one, the first one that came out was popular, probably 7 to 10 years ago, maybe people started gathering some speed, maybe even a bit later than that, was intermittent fasting, where you would fast for 16 hours and then only eat your food in an 8-hour window. So typically, if you ate your dinner at 8 p.m., 16 hours is 12 o'clock the next day, 12 noon, have lunch, and then eat your food between, say, 12 and 8 p.m. So shorten that window. And it was seen, and I honestly, I fell for this, fell for the bullshit that, oh, I'm losing weight. I got lean doing intermittent fasting because it stimulates your hormones and all these different things. But look, in reality, I was just missing breakfast. But what happens when you miss breakfast? You massively reduce your calories. So I know people that do intermittent fasting that gain fat and they can't work out why. Well, I'm fasting, so I must have this magical silver bullet that helps me lose body fat. Well, it doesn't, because if you eat 3,000 calories between 12 and 8 p.m., and you only need to eat 2,000 to maintain your weight, you're going to get fat. Doesn't matter the window. You could eat one meal of 3,000. You could wait till 7 p.m. and eat all your food in one meal a day. But if you overeat, you're going to still gain body fat. Now, where intermittent fasting can work really, really well is if someone, by not eating breakfast, accidentally or intentionally reduces their calories. Let's say someone was eating 2,000 calories over 3 meals and a snack. So they're eating 500 for breakfast, 500 for lunch, 500 for dinner, 500 for snack, or any combination of that, 2,000 calories. If they skip breakfast and then still only eat 1,500 calories, they've created a 500 calorie deficit. So that would help them lose weight for sure. So sometimes by taking breakfast off the menu and having lunch or their first meal, so breaking their fast at 1, 2, midday, whenever they choose to, that first meal, if they can still control their calories and have less calories in that feeding window, then they're going to be in a deficit. They're going to lose weight. But it's nothing to do with intermittent fasting. So let's call intermittent fasting what it is really. It's just reducing food. So it's no different if someone eats 1,500 calories over 3 meals from 12 to 8 or over 3 meals from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Doesn't make any difference. Hopefully that's answered that question, Jim, on fasting. Any more? If you're coming on, let me know where you are. LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. If you've got any questions, drop them in the chat. We're talking health, fitness, fat loss, mindset, anything in between, personal development, self-development. Big fans of that. Big friends of mine. Big fan of personal development, I should say. Cool, Jim. Welcome. You're welcome, mate. Hopefully that's answered that question. Jim, what are you trying to do if you're there still? What's your aim? Are you trying to lose weight? Stay in shape? All right. I'm going to try and pronounce your name. Oh my God. It's Mr. Catella. Mr. Catella. I don't want to try and butcher your name, but thank you very much. You're saying you do a great job getting individuals to understand the basics. Awesome. Thank you for that, sir. Appreciate that. Jim, thank you. Jim has said he's got to run. Great, got to run, but I love your posts. You're welcome, Jim. Jim, if Jim said he wants to lose weight, look, Jim, drop me a private message. If you're struggling with this and you want some real help, I'll point you in the right direction, help you the best I can, but send me a direct message and we can chat that way. If you've got to go, I appreciate it. All the best. Any more? All right, we're talking fitness, fat loss, health, anything in between. So go back to my poll that we had on earlier on today. Most people just are, they don't understand nutrition. They don't understand the basics. They think that they can't have foods that are typically fattening. Like if I go back 20 years, I would avoid certain foods because those foods were fattening. There's no foods that are fattening. There's foods that contain protein, sugar, carbs, fat, but there's no actual foods that are fattening. There's foods that are very high calorie and don't have any nutrients. They're the foods that we tend to overeat. So they're considered fattening foods, but nothing makes you fat. I explained from the McDonald's analogy, nothing makes you fat. You only gain body fat by being in a calorie surplus. So we need to change our understanding of what food is and what food isn't, what nutrition is and what it isn't. There's no fattening foods. There's no good or bad foods. There's foods with nutrients that could be considered good. There's foods without any nutrients or lack of nutrients, nutrientless, or new foods that are nutrient dense, good and bad, but they're not really good and bad because you can have them, you can eat them all the time if you wanted to, probably best not to if you value health and performance and maybe sleep and, feeling good, but you can have a little bit of the good stuff. When I say the good stuff, the stuff that we think we can't have, and that's a big misconception that I get with clients. They join the program that I'm working with them, that I do, my 12-week online coaching program, and they think that they can't eat some of the foods that they enjoy. So just to let you know about my coaching program, this is probably a good chance to let you know there's no one actually on live. Look, I specialize in helping men, women lose 20 pounds or more in 12 weeks or less without cutting carbs and all the other fun stuff from their lives. So my whole job is to kind of clear up the misconceptions around health, fitness, and fat loss. You don't need to eliminate carbohydrates. You don't need to eliminate sugar. You don't need to eliminate alcohol. You don't need to give up the stuff that you enjoy. The way that you guys lose weight is by controlling the numbers, the calorie deficit. That's what we need to look at. And if that includes a little bit of what you like and have a lot of what you need, that's the way. You're going to stick to the plan. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to be able to adhere to everything I show you. You're going to get better results because it's sustainable. It's all about sustainability. Losing weight's the easy bit. You lose 30 pounds, great. Well done. Excellent. But if you put 30 pounds back on because you come off your diet and you can't stay on the diet plan you're on, then that's a massive failure. If you do it slightly slower and you're eating some of the foods you didn't think you could have, and every day you're waking up and enjoying your foods, you know, that's the way. That's going to create long-lasting results and sustainability. All right, good question. Kieran Doyle says, high protein diets, yes or no for weight loss, or just temporary fix? Definitely not a temporary fix, my friend. Protein is probably the most important nutrient in the weight loss puzzle. I'll explain what I mean by that. In terms of pure weight loss, and when you say weight loss, I'm assuming you mean fat loss, because the aim of any weight loss program is to lose body fat and keep them lean muscle tissue. So we need protein for building muscle. It's also really great for satiety, so it keeps you fuller for longer. So it's got all the benefits. It also switches on neurotransmitters, which is, you know, like dopamine, serotonin, so it can keep you more focused and happy. So we need it for that. But in terms of pure fat loss, calories are what matters. So as long as you've got some protein to stay alive, from pure fat loss perspective, it's not going to make a huge amount of difference. Now, for people that are trying to put muscle on and people trying to control their calories, I always tell my clients to aim for 2 grams of protein per kilo of intended body weight, 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilo of intended body weight. So I don't know where you're coming in from, Kieran, if you're in the States or in the UK or anywhere else. If you use kilos, I'll use that as an example. Let's say that you're 90 kilos, for example, and you're trying to get to 75 kilos. You want to lose 15 kilos. So 2 grams of protein per kilo of intended body weight, 75 times 2 is 150. I would ask my clients to aim for 1.5 to 2 grams. It's about 130 to 150 grams protein per day. Now that's on the high end. Now, if they're trying to build muscle and we're talking about body composition, burning body fat and keeping the muscle they've got, they definitely want to be aiming for that. If someone was obese, someone was 130 kilos, it's about 280 pounds, and they're trying to get below 100 kilos, as long as they're getting a good amount of protein, 70, 80, 90, maybe 100 grams of protein, I would probably tell that person to aim for. What's more important for them is their total calories. And the rest of the calories can come from fat and carbohydrates. So it's definitely not a fix. I mean, it's such an open-ended question. It's the most important. It's one of the most. It's the most important nutrient within carbs, fat, and protein. Protein is probably the most important out of those three. But what's more important is total calories will trump that. So although we aim to get clients to eat a high-protein diet when it comes to fat loss, someone ate 150 grams of protein yet was in a surplus, they're going to get worse results than someone ate 50 grams of protein, but that person was in a calorie deficit. You're only going to burn body fat when you're in a deficit, regardless of the protein. Hopefully that makes sense. What are you trying to do, Kieran? What's your aims? What are your goals? Are you trying to lose body fat? Are you trying to build muscle? If you give me a bit of context, I'll tell you whether you need some protein. But generally, I would say definitely aim for a good amount of protein, and 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilo of intended body weight. Or you could say 1 gram per pound of intended body weight. If you're 200 pounds, you're trying to get to 170, 170 grams of protein. That's probably a bit more than the kilo, because it's 1 kilo is 2.2 pounds. So, right, hopefully that answers that question. Kieran, you still there? I'm going to check if I've got any more questions I've missed in the chat. Scrolling through, can't see anything at the moment. There's been some good questions today, though. Yep, definitely protein. So going back to nutrition, what else can we say about nutrition? So one, we need to know the value. Two, we need to, know the basics. And When it comes down to fat loss, it really is that simple. But what is confusing for a lot of people, I say it's simple and it's easy, and people say, well, if it was that simple and easy, why is everyone not out there their perfect weight? Why has not everyone got a six pack? Why is not everyone in shape? Because mechanically it's very, very simple. On one hand, the actual act of losing body fat, the mechanism of losing body fat is a calorie deficit, and we can do that by diet manipulation and exercise, and usually a combination of both. But so controlling your calories and moving your body, that's fat loss. On the other hand, we've got the psychological aspect of losing body fat, and that's very, very tricky for most people. That could be the triggers of food, why they can't control food, cravings, could be poor self-image, poor self-esteem, self-limiting beliefs. So that's what we also look at in the coaching. The big part of my coaching program that when I work with clients is teaching them the basics around nutrition and calories. I can teach that in half an hour. But what we really focus on is why does someone use food as a crutch? Why do they feel they're compelled to smash that bag of Doritos at 10 p.m. at night? So we look at the triggers, and then that coupled with helping them with their self-image and their self-esteem, and also breaking down some self-limiting beliefs, that the bullshit story that a lot of us tell ourselves. I can't lose weight. I'm overweight. I've got big bones. My family are overweight. I've always suffered with my weight. I can't lose weight. I've tried everything. All these self-limiting beliefs, which are basically bullshit stories that we tell ourselves. Bullshit stories that we tell ourselves. Very often the truth, not the truth. I always say to people, don't believe your own thoughts. Don't believe your own thoughts, because they're very often not the truth. They're based on a story that we've told ourselves, and that story's come from childhood, parenting, schools, our environment. That's the bullshit story. So mechanically losing body fat is very, very simple. Psychologically, it's very, very tricky. All right, I'm going to stay on another 3 minutes. I'm going to go on for 40 minutes today. If there's any more questions, great, come in. If you're coming on live late to this, let me know where you're from. If you've got any questions, drop it in the chat. Let me know if you're on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, wherever. Let me know. We'll go for 2 minutes and hopefully there'll be some more questions. And for those that are watching this on the recording, you've got a question, you don't get a chance to answer it on the live or in the chat, by all means, send me a private message, slip into my DMs, as the cool kids say these days. Send me a private message on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you find. Come to my website, gavgillibrand.com, ask me a question. More than happy to help you. We'll look at, if you want to look at some coaching, we'll look at that. I specialize in helping men, women, busy professionals, CEOs, entrepreneurs, busy people with families, usually, lose 20 pounds or more, sometimes a lot more, in 12 weeks or less, without cutting carbs and alcohol and all the other fun stuff from their lives. All right, any final questions before we come off here? Oh, Anna, she's saying thanks. I'll pop your name up. Anna has said thanks, very informative. You are welcome. If you've got any more questions, come send me a message. Thanks for being on this live, Anna, appreciate that, really do. All right, final questions. If not, I'm going to be out of here. Remember, these lives are going to be 5 p.m. every Thursday, 5 p.m. BST, which is British Summer Time, which I think is midday in the East Coast of America, 9 a.m. West Coast, and it's definitely other times in other places of the world. So 5 p.m. every Thursday, we're going to do these open Q&As on fitness, fun, fat loss, anything in between. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it here. I'm Gav. I shall see you next time. Hope you enjoyed tonight. See you soon. See, I like to be taken for dinner and drinks first before you slip your hands in Swenica. Call me old-fashioned. I'm kind of a big deal. Sake.